You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. In New York City, there was a news conference with Keyon Harrold, attorney Ben Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton. Keyon Harrold was on our show yesterday. He is the brother, of course, who was accosted by a white woman at a New York hotel who attacked him and his son, suggesting that his son stole her iPhone. Well, he didn't. An Uber driver later returned it. Well, Ben Crump and others, they say it is time for the New York District Attorney to press charges against this woman for assault. Here's Ben Crump at today's news conference.
So many of our brothers and sisters being falsely accused and losing their life and their liberty for decades in prison. I mean, there are thousands of black men in prison because they were racially profiled and falsely accused. So this has larger implications. I mean, it was Emmett Till who was falsely accused and racially profiled that led to him being lynched. And so it is a larger conversation that has a larger impact on society. And if we don't hold this person accountable to show that there's not a double standard in America, that we can't have these two justice systems in America, one for black America and one for white America. Because we know without a shadow of a doubt, Reverend Al, if Keyon, if the roles would have been reversed and you had a black adult tackle a white teenager and falsely accuse that white teenager of taking the cell phone, we know that he would have been arrested for assault and battery. And so we're looking to the NYPD and we're looking to the Manhattan District Attorney to say, are you going to join in the racial profiling, or are you going to do your job and deliver equal justice to send a message not only to this family, not only to New York, but to America and the world, that equal justice under the law for all American citizens, so our children will know that it is unacceptable to racially profile them. And if you do it, that there are going to be consequences. Because wasn't it in at Times Square with Central Park here in New York, where we saw a black man be racially profiled, and thank God that we have video camera. Can you imagine what the narrative would have been if Keyon Harrold had not videoed the incident on his cell phone? Just ponder that for a second, what the narrative would have been. Because we understand that this person already, Attorney Craig, is trying to allege that she was assaulted by Keyon. Now think about that. She is enraged. She's coming at this young man, his son, his cub, who she's never met before in his life, making these wild accusations. I mean, clawing, tackling him. See, you only saw the video that Keyon was able to capture on his cell phone. But we know that the hotel surveillance video has it all. Yes. And you see his son being attacked by this woman. You see him being attacked by this woman. They didn't attack her. She attacked them. And all he was doing was trying to protect his cub, as any good parent would have done. And I'm sure you all saw the interview, the only interview that his parents allow him to speak and will allow him to speak, where he said, I don't know what would have happened if my father wasn't there. I don't know what would have happened if my father wasn't there.
Thank you, Lord.
And so, it is, I get a little choked up, and I'm sure many people of color get choked up, because so often black men get stereotyped as not being there for our children. Well, thank God we have video documentation that we are here for our children, and that we love our children just as much as anybody else love their children.
That's right.
Also at today's news conference, Keyon Harrold, who is a Grammy Award-winning trumpeter, plays for Maxwell, has played for so many others. He played a rendition of America the Beautiful mixed with We Shall Overcome. Reese, I want to start with you. They want charges pressed against her. You hear Ben Crump say she all of a sudden trying to say she was attacked. Sorry, white woman. That is not going to fly. Not only do we have Keyon's video, you have the hotel video that also shot the whole deal. Yeah, she's going to have to answer to this.
Yeah, and I've seen reporting that the district attorney's office is considering charges on a slew of charges, including assault. And so this is the same thing that we've seen historically. I'm actually very happy for a change to see Black people completely unequivocally stand up and demand action. Because a lot of times in these cases, what we see is folks get up there and say, I just want an apology, or I forgive you, or whatever else, and play the conciliatory role. No, lock her ass up. Okay? That's what she need to be in jail. I don't have no problems with that. So whatever they got to do, whatever kind of press conference or interviews they have to drive home that this woman needs to be held accountable, I'm for it. And I'm glad that she's finally been identified, because, if the situation had been reversed, the media would have been looking high and low for whoever the hell this lady was that assaulted a white child. And so it's time to not let these slights go by. This is not a no harm, no foul situation. Quit effing with Black people. Quit acting like you're our overseers. Quit acting like you have authority over us. And, the hotel also needs to be held accountable, because she had what white folks and white supremacists always have, which is people who help perpetuate the harm that's being done by siding with them, instead of staying neutral or siding with the person who's actually being attacked. And so I'm all for everything that's going to happen. The Central Park lady that they referred to earlier, the bird watcher, said he didn't want all the stuff to happen to her. Nah. We're not doing it this time. Cassandra, your time is coming, girl. And you lucky that you didn't get slapped down to the ground. Charges is actually, to me, milder than what the average Black mama would have done. But luckily for her, it was a man on woman situation. So all he could do was protect his cub. I like that they're saying cub instead of a mama who would have beat her ass down.
Well, first of all, I'm shocked that you actually said effing and not the actual word. But let's go
I'm
to
trying to
Robert
be cool.
Patillo.
It's because it's
Yeah, I know.
Wednesday.
That's her early New Year's resolution. Robert Patillo, I want to go to you. Reese is right. Challenge these folks. Go after these folks. I ain't letting white folks off the hook, okay? I'm tired of black people not being able to barbecue, not being able to sell lemonade, not being able to work at UPS, not being able to work at FedEx. Damn that. Go after all of them.
Well, you have to understand that second-class citizenship has been so ingrained into African Americans over generations that it's reflexive for many. We apologize to them for getting hit. We apologize for them for having to inconvenience them by putting our blackness near them in many cases. So I think it is important for us to understand that as first-class citizens, as modern-day 21st century African Americans, we have every ability and every right to be protected. And I still think we have to get to the point in our criminal justice system where you do not need to have video footage in 1080p or in 4K in order to receive justice in this country. What we saw from the Justice Department on the Tamir Rice announcement that they will not be investigating is that the video was too grainy, as if you have to have Steven Spielberg to direct a video in order to receive justice in this country. And even if you look at the difference between the white college student from Georgia who's down in the Cayman Islands who committed an actual crime, they got sentenced to a couple months in jail for committing a crime, and 2 United States senators and the governor are trying to get her out of that, versus a young African-American male in New York who committed the crime of simply walking by a white woman who was confused. And the fact that if it was not for video, if it was not for his father being there, he more than likely would have been detained by the hotel, may have been investigated by police, may have even been taken into custody and spent a night in jail because this woman accused him of this, because there's always this presumption of criminality of African-American men, particularly when it comes to interactions with white women. This the tale as old as time, even though there's rhyme. And until we break that cultural stereotype, we're going to have to continue to fight these battles. You know, Super Mario was rescuing the blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman from the castle. And King Kong was kidnapping and taking the blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman to the top of the Empire State Building. We have to break this ingrained nature of generational self-hatred, of second-class citizenship, and understand that the rule of law is meant to protect us just as much as meant to punish them.
And Greg, we cannot forget Khalif Browder, accused of stealing a backpack, spends 3 years in Rikers Island, finally released. He commits suicide because of the PTSD and the trauma and the abuse that he suffered. A simple allegation of theft. That's what happens to a black kid, especially a black male.
Absolutely, Roland. Robert is right. It's later now. There are no, just like there are no unconvinced voters in Georgia, people who have made up their mind. This country has made, it began as a declaration of war on us and the Native Americans. And Reese is right. It's time for this to end. With all due respect to Brother Crump, I think the most valuable thing he said in what he was saying today was this: there have to be repercussions. As Eddie Murphy said in Life, the movie Life, got to be repercussions and consequences. In other words, we need to stop trying to reach out, because you have to understand, even as was said on the floor of the Senate today, 10 of the 25 poorest counties in the country are in Kentucky. But Mitch McConnell has decided, damn life, I pick holding this criminal enterprise together. In Georgia, Loeffler and Perdue lie and say, we're for that $2,000 check. And so when you see them standing there in New York, and the brother did a beautiful rendering of We Shall Overcome and remixing it, but nah, bruh, with all due respect, later for that. Because as Robert just said, the Justice Department is handing out some lovely parting gifts to the white nationalists by letting the killers of Tamir Rice go. This is not accidental. These things are never going to change in this country. So I'll end with this. We're at an inflection point. Now, people can say, okay, well, don't make this about voting in Georgia. No, be very clear. Why the white nationalists are pulling out all stops in this election in Georgia is because they understand that 6 years from now, this country's going to look very different. And you roll up on us in 6 years, you might get your ass whipped. So let's be very clear. This is their desperate last dying gasp to hold this white minority government together. And the time for being polite, like my colleague Ted Delaney, who just made transition, and we're going to talk about him down there at the College of Washington and Lee and others, that time is over. The statues is going, and we'll punch you dead in your face. And if the police, if you're built like that, chief, let's move, because now it's repercussions. Later for the we shall overcome, later with the conciliation, you ain't gonna roll up on us no more, because we're very clear. There are no people who are not convinced that they're right in their moves. We're just gonna start counting heads and taking heads. We have to be clear about this now.
And Roland, to Dr. Carr's point, just real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick to Dr. Carr's point. Understand the intersection of this in that Georgia race. We looked at that debate that took place between Warnock and Loeffler. The reason that Kelly Loeffler, who has, I think, a MBA from DePaul University, can call Raphael Warnock, who has a doctorate, radical liberal Warnock, instead of referring to him by name, is because of that same white privilege that allowed this woman to tackle this boy thinking that he had her cell phone. The reason that she can run commercials, $500 million worth, with lie after lie after lie on him, and he has to be walking a little dog and eating pizza with a fork and knife trying to prove how nice he is because of that same over-criminalization of African-American men, that if he had raised his voice and said, well, what is Backed Industries? Where did you get that $182 million from a Chinese billionaire to start your cryptocurrency company? If he had said that, that would have been too aggressive. So you always have to almost submit to her white supremacy over you. You have to submit to your second-class citizenship, because America will always assume that you, as the black man, will be the criminal, and you will always be over-criminalized. Look at that O.J. Simpson Time magazine cover where they darkened you, because they want to make sure you maintain your place. And with every time that you say, I don't want to punish them, I want to be nice, I don't want anything bad to happen to them, you are playing into your own psychological second-class citizenship. And until you break free of that, you can never truly be a first-class citizen in this country.
That's why, for me, I don't want to hear anything when they say, oh, my God, goodness, so-and-so's life was ruined. Well, guess what? Your ass shouldn't have done it. Then it wouldn't have been a problem. If you didn't do it, if you didn't show your white supremacy, if you didn't show your privilege, then guess what? You wouldn't be in trouble. So I don't give a damn if your life was ruined. This damn Cassandra Medina, whatever the hell her name is, I ain't got no problem whatsoever if her ass lose her job, if she get thrown out of her apartment. I don't care, because what she did, again, Kalief Browder. First of all, I need y'all to understand something. I need everybody listening to me understand something. An iPhone 11 cost $1,000. Do y'all know that theft of an iPhone in most places is a felony because of its value?
Come on.
Some of y'all didn't hear what I just said.
One more time, baby.
The theft of an iPhone, because of its value, if you are charged, you can be classified as a felony. Kalief Browder was accused of stealing a backpack of valuables. He spent 3 years in Rikers Island. That brother is dead because of the trauma that he experienced. And so no black kid, you're right, just like that brother we had on the show, who was handcuffed at the mall in Virginia when the cops accused him of with stolen credit, using a stolen credit card. It wasn't him, it was some other black guy who they detained. They didn't even bother to ask him first. No, they immediately slapped the cuffs on him. Damn that. I don't want to have to experience getting cuffs slapped on me, being wrongfully persecuted. We've had too many black men who have gone to jail for 15, 20, 30 years as a result of this nonsense. And so, no, it's time is over. I ain't apologizing. Damn that. If her life gets destroyed, fine. And I want Reese, throw her punk ass in jail as long as you need to, so she'll learn her damn lesson.
Back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans to contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.